actually puppy was. So I wanted to talk about that a little bit because, of course, often I talk about trauma and business and how we go through these things. But there is one thing that I always realize when I talk to clients, and I've been talking to a lot of clients today, that is that we don't connect the dots between what is going on in our life or in our business and trauma, or that we don't connect the dots between what we're seeing around us, our reactions, and and the present moment. And that actually makes a lot of sense. I'm sorry, I'm not sitting very nice. Okay, that actually makes a lot of sense because often we don't understand our feelings or our reactions or what's going on when we relate them to the thing that is going on with us right now. So then we have all this self talk saying, well, I shouldn't be so angry. There's no reason to be so angry. I have no reason to be upset. So, you know what? There's probably something wrong with me, or some version of that, right? So then there's this gap. Now, today, I was walking with my puppy. Um, for those of you who don't know that, I have a 16-week-old puppy, really beautiful guy, a Nova Scotia duck calling retriever. He's an absolute beauty. And yesterday, for the first time in his life, he met oxen. So basically, male cows, right? And there is a meadow. I live here in the middle of the countryside, and there's this meadow. And I think about we always walk past that on our daily walks, but now we've had really dry summer, so there was no grass available for the oxen. So then the oxen have been in the stable all summer basically, and now only past week they've been let out of the stable and they're free to roam in the meadow because we've had some rain. So now the grass is green, it's growing back, and now finally these oxen are all out there happy and jumping up and down. And the puppy has met these oxen for the first time in his life. He's seen them a little bit because I've walked past the stables. I've seen them together with him behind a huge fence from a distance, so I've seen them a little bit. But now they have space, so these oxen are jumping and dancing up and down the meadow. And then the puppy was standing there on the lawn, like, what is this? And then the oxen came running towards him, all 20 of them at the same time. That small puppy was like looking at me, what's going on? And we were there for a few minutes only yesterday. This morning a little bit longer because my next door neighbor who lives there, we met her and we were talking about how beautiful it is. And the puppy was pretending to play with some grass while trying to deal with his anxiety and all these things that come up. But he has to go through these experiences. Otherwise, he'll just be terrified of these animals when he's grown up, right? So, like all babies, he has to go through all of these impressions of what the world is and what it means, but it's also really stressful. So then what happens with these puppies is that they go through it, they're in the middle of anxiety, their cortisol levels go way up, way beyond what they can manage. So that, which is why we only stay there for a few minutes or 10 minutes, something like that, and then we go back home. But then the rest of the day, he needs to unwind from this and he needs to get his cortisol levels down. Now, how puppies do that is that the day after a stressful event like meeting oxen for the first time in your life when you're a baby is to sleep. So yesterday he was tired to no end. He was just sleeping, sleeping, sleeping. So then from our logic mind, we think, oh, he's had a stressful situation, he slept, now he should be over it, right? Except the day after, it gets worse. So today, he was bitey and fighting, and he was misbehaving all the time. He wasn't listening at all. And then for a person who doesn't understand how trauma and stress works, that would seem like an overreaction, right? That would seem like, why does he have to be like this? That was 2 days ago. He doesn't have, it makes no sense that he would still be that stressed. Now, for puppies, we have enough compassion to think, well, I don't know why, it's just the way it goes. But for us, it's the exact same thing. Except often the time in between these episodes isn't just 2 days. It can take years. It can take decades even. So we've had a stressful behavior or stressful incident and we went through it. But then, this is why it can take decades, but then nobody allowed us the 2 or 3 days to reduce our cortisol level, or nobody recognized how stressful it was. Because, you know what, my puppy didn't look too stressed between the auxins yesterday. He looked like he was having a good time. So for an eye of an untrained observer, it could look like that was easy. That wasn't stressful for him at all, right? Except his cortisol levels went up. And if you don't know that, then with a small baby or a young child, you might think, well, you know what, that was okay, that was good. Let's put him in another stress situation. And then through telling us, you know what, they have to learn to deal with stress, we put them in way more stress than they can actually handle. Now, this has happened with all of us. We call it childhood, right? We've been put into stressful situations way more often, way more frequent, and way longer than we were physically able to deal with. That is called developmental trauma. The interesting thing about it is that there's not really a story. There's not a story of, well, that was really traumatic. Meeting oxen while you're actually on a leash with your parent isn't that traumatic from an untrained observer's eye. But that doesn't matter. What matters is that all these hormones and fluids in your body start to kick in. If you don't get the chance to release that, then that freezes and sets. So then if we don't take 2 days to actually get rid of all of that, what then happens is that in a very unrelated incident where we're actually calm and stress-free, where we absolutely have no reason to be overreacting at all these fluids start to want to move out. Which is why, specifically on holidays, we can feel so stressed. It's not because the holidays stresses us out. It's because now we finally have some time to deal with that stress. So we don't need to take one yearly holiday. We need continuous time where our body can actually process the very small stressors that we go through every day. If you've had a childhood with a lot of oxen needing, as a metaphor, and you weren't given the time that your physical system needed to deal with that, or the guidance or the guardians that could allow you to deal with that, then your body can start to misbehave without you understanding how to get your control back. That is exactly why we don't connect the dots, because we think like, yo, what does my childhood have to do with what I'm dealing with today? Well, if you didn't get enough time in your childhood to process a lot of things, then your system is going to take whatever it takes right now. But it still needs to do a lot of these things. We don't connect these dots because, exactly like a puppy, we think, why does he have to misbehave right now, right? The oxen meeting was yesterday and the day before. Why should he be stressed about that today? What's going on here? Shouldn't he be over that yet? This is how we treat ourselves. And if you continue to treat yourself that way, you're damaging yourself way more than you think, and you're not using your health in your system to deal with today. And if you're not dealing with today from a health system, but actually from a survival mechanism, you're just re-traumatizing yourself again and again and again and again. If you want to know more about this, I'm running 2 masterclasses next week. If you want the link, pop your name in the comments, and I will make certain that we connect and that you get the link to sign up for my masterclass. This was what I wanted to talk about today. I'm going to take a bite to eat. I have more sustenance today. I hope you have a wonderful evening. And if you have questions, insights, stuff you want to share with me, pop it in the comments. Goodbye for today. All my love.